The Travoltathon's back, everybody. We've been gone for a bit of time because of A-levels, but here we are getting back into the swing of things.
Travoltathon, population, us.
He's really, really rad.
He's Travolta. He met Proop's dad. He's Travolta.
You'll know him from Gotti.
He got too handsy and kissed a fan during an interview, and his excuse was it was a natural response because he likes sex.
Allegedly.
It's Proop and Murph's Travoltathon.
See, we just watched this film Today in Bury in the cinema.
Who is Grease, and what is he doing here on the Travoltathon?
Grease is this kind of film that's kind of like this musical film, and Grease is really the it's the film that put Travolta on the map, really.
It's 1978. He's no Pitbull like he is these days. He's young, he's fruitful.
He's just broke out of his plastic bubble.
And he's jumped straight into these greasy shoes.
And he's sliding along at full pace.
Pontius Pilate from the Bible. Honestly, I went in with low expectations, and I can't say the film made me change my mind. Even though it was quite a well-received movie at the time, it's got quite dated gender politics.
It is quite a display of quite a few cultural sticking points at the time, which have become very dated. It's really just kind of a slice of history, isn't it?
You're making it sound like this is set in the 70s. It's more like a 50s kind of thing.
Well, I don't know. They've got those kind of cars. They've got cars. Yeah, you're right. It's set in the 50s. It's set in 58.
See, I'm just a grease spurt, as they say.
Basically, we begin with a wee little kind of the end of the summer. Travolta and his missus down at the beach. She's like, oh, damn, Danny, I got to be bouncing off back to Australia. Very, very sad departure there. But then we go to school and wacko Zacko, she only done shown up. They bump into one another and it's like, whoa, no way.
Sandy! Danny!
The tragedy doth not fallen.
There's a big problem here, because when Travolta's on holiday with this woman, he's acting kind.
Like a gentleman.
Warm. But when he's at school with his fellow leather-stricken pals, he's a bit of a meanie pants. He's smoking a cig. He's back to the wall, arms crossed, knife flipping, oil drinking. I made that bit up. I don't know where I'm going with that. He's got this energy about him, which he has to maintain.
He's going for that downtown Coolsville, I'm about to have sex with every woman in a miles radius kind of vibe. And that doesn't quite mesh with the chivalrous gentleman type that he was at the beach.
Well, that's cool, baby. I mean, you know how it is.
Danny?
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
It's sort of this bros before hoes scenario.
It comes across more like he's a wee bit of a nervous cotter when she's around with his friends there. You know, as the film progresses, he kind of learns how to unite both sides of himself. The way they do it, it's very shallow. It's just kind of, this needs to happen, so it happens. And what's the woman called? Anne Stokes.
Her name is Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy. It's not like
Sandra.
Travolta or Sandy really have much of a drive to act in this certain way. It's more just they just kind of slowly overcome that for the sake of falling in love.
I just found it funny how you asked specifically what the woman's character's name was, and you still called Danny Zuko Travolta.
Well, you know, he's Travolta. What can I say? These people are all clearly well older than 17. Like, the fact that they all drive cars, apparently it's just kind of normal for loads of kids to have cars as soon as they turn 17.
I've got 67 cars, die-cast automobiles, which I review once a week on my channel. I don't think that's a problem of just this movie. That's the thing that Hollywood has just in general. They don't cast teenagers as teenagers, they cast 20-year-olds.
I mean, the aesthetic is 100% there. I mean, Grease certainly is that whole 1950s, the school dance is the be-all and end-all. The whole dominance hierarchy, the cars, the style, the wee little groups. It's the aesthetic is done perfectly, and I think that is what really sells the film. It's not trying to be realistic. The whole film feels like a Looney Tune. It's quite cartoonish. It's all just about immersing yourself in a vibe and the whole aesthetic of it, which I think it does do well. It's just not something that really tickles my biscuits.
I kind of sat there. I wasn't bored at any point. I would hesitantly say having fun with it. The songs didn't go on too long where I was getting sick of them. But there was never anything which I liked. There was nothing that stood out to me as, oh, that was a good character moment. Oh, that was a good song. It was
Yeah,
just
not
all
really.
events happening on the screen in front of me that I was just consuming and not having any interesting thoughts about. Well,
Yeah.
no, interesting positive thoughts.
He genitally mutilates her with a knife.
At its core, it's kind of like a movie about sex and the sex life in this time period.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's as about love as it maybe claims to be or has the reputation for being about. It's not like all the men are just lusting after the women. It's the other way around as well.
Which I can
That's
see why that
resilience.
was seen as quite revolutionary for the time.
Yeah.
Like I could see why it seems progressive.
Because in the 50s, no woman had ever orgasmed before. You need grease for a woman to orgasm.
Yeah. We can all expect a film from this time to be teeth grating when it comes to sex and like attitudes around that. At that time, there was still quite a lot of dust settling in terms of like women's rights and the sexual revolution and everything. There's so many stuff that just wouldn't be tolerable today. Like at the dance, there's like some 50-year-old bloke just wandering around flirting with this 17-year-old kid. Not cool. Like that whole line in the song where it's like, "Did she put up a fight?" That's just kind of
Yeah,
thrown
that
in
one
there.
stood
And
out
like
to me as well.
it stands out, doesn't it?
That's the point of that song, though. Sandy's there like, oh, he held me in his arms and we smooched every now and again and then we watched the sunrise.
Well, he was sort of special.
There ain't no such thing.
John Travolta's one is like, I
Did you fuck
fucked her
her?
tits
Did
and
you
shit
shag
like
her?
that, yeah.
You got the drawers, right? Yeah. Come on, come on.
Look at how cool I am. She didn't consent.
It definitely comes across that way.
There is the scene literally right before that song where one of John Travolta's friends is like lying down on the floor of the bleachers, just looking up women's
peering
skirts,
up into a woman's abyssal vagina.
and they just walk off like this is something normal. That
They just
happens
laugh
to
it
them all
off
the
that
time.
some guy is perving on some unassuming girls.
So much sexual assault going on at this school.
Even Danny Zuko resorts to molesting. He ends up getting a bit too close for comfort, and she's already screamed and said no. She kind of manages to squirm away. He was full on crossing the line at that point. But that's not supposed to be seen as anything bad, is it? It's not really set out like, oh, he's properly crossed the line here. I have no idea what they were trying to go for, like in terms of
Like the ending.
core message. Yeah, the ending. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got their troubles, John Travolta and Sandy. Sandy talks to her friend and she's like, I know how to fix this. I know how to get the man. They both turn up at like this end of year carnival kind of thing. And John Travolta is dressed pretty much exactly the same, except instead of his leather jacket, he's got on this really cringe, like cardigan-y thing. And then Sandy turns up and she's smoking a cigarette and she's dressed kind of like John Travolta and his gang. So he takes off his cardigan and he's like, oh, great. We're both going to be greasy together.
I don't understand it at all. They both clearly expressed they're in love with each other already. She pushed him away because he molested her. So I don't understand why she feels like the ball is in her court to change.
They both go to make this change, but then John Travolta doesn't make it because she already has. So it's like this woman has changed herself to be the ideal of what this guy wants.
Well, I guess they're supposed to be saying that she went through all this effort to change, but she didn't actually have to. At that stage, it was already beyond the point where it was just their differences in groups of friends. It had got to the point where that didn't really matter anymore.
Yeah,
like she
yeah.
keeps getting pissed off at him for really stupid reasons. He finds himself with some other woman trying to dance with him, and she gets really, really like she has to leave. Only a couple minutes later, she's like, oh, I can't go on without him. I'm just too in love.
Yeah, the movie treats John Travolta being kind of smarmy at the start, as that's when she gets pissed off, but she gets less pissed off at the sexual assault. I think that what the film is trying to say is that Sandy is the one who needs to change because she's a square and she won't let John Travolta have sex with her. So John Travolta will just move on to someone else. So she's going to have to change. She's the one who has to become more like Travolta.
I can see how that might not have been the intention. Her changing her whole character and everything, I think it was supposed to be played off as like some kind of mistake. But the fact that she puts in so much more effort than he does, all he does is put this cardigan on and say, come on, guys, I really like this girl. Just let me wear this cardigan. And then her whole transformation is so overplayed. Both of them tried to change themselves, but neither of them had to.
Because they're very artificial changes. It's not like they are making big life choices so that they can be together. They're making very shallow surface level choices just to please each other for the moment.
The whole attitude of the film is very in the moment. It's very much kind of that high school dream where like it's some student who's got so much tunnel vision, caught up with prom and everything. Like it really is that life ends at the end of high school. They're there together and then the car ascends into the sky and flies through the clouds. There's no real life beyond that. There's only an eternity of bliss from the rewards that you've reaped throughout high school. It very much is an entire universe centered around 1950s high school. And I think that is quite a good representation of like the way that some high school kids really treat like the whole friendship groups and everything. And I think that's what really sells it to a wide audience of people.
I'm on way to Horrid Hill.
And there was also that scene where they were in space.
Shit, well, I stayed for the post-credit scene because I swear there's a bit where they're both in space. I must have made this up.
You don't actually see the car in space. It's like a cockpit view, and you see the people behind them sort of get lower and lower. So you never see a flying car. Maybe they're just going up a hill.
Yeah, you've got the old women, like their last message, they're crying because they know that they're the has-beens and that they're just going to be sentenced to the void. As soon as the film is over, their characters don't exist. Whereas Danny Zuko and Sandy Toksvig get to live on
Immortal.
in the stars.
Yeah, Sandy Toksvig goes to the sun. There's Stephen Fry.
Head for the sun, that's Stephen Fry.
I want to briefly mention Eugene, who is this school punching bag. He's just a normal guy.
Everyone's such a dickhead to Eugene, especially the leather cladders.
Hey, Eugene!
He's like, hello, guys. And then they just beat him up.
He comes across as a bit of an autist.
Yeah,
that
so
bloke.
do the guys.
Yeah, no, all the guys do as well. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. They all seem a bit retarded, like to the extent where there's full on like choreographed slapstick.
Pretty cool, huh?
And at the end, when there's like this wall and the teachers have their faces in the wall and you're meant to throw pies, and then Eugene comes up and he hits the gym teacher square in the face. And I thought that was going to be a moment of recognition where the bullies were all going to be like, oh, I guess Eugene was cool all along. But no, they just pie him in the face. They're like, what a nerd. He's good at sports. They're bullying the nerds. And they are also bullying the jocks. If we were to describe this in like a cringe Reddit way, they are the Sigma males of the movie Grease.
What's that guy, the kind of thinner one who I think looks like a cross between Sam Walker and Stanley Tucci? That's an accurate depiction.
On the screen right now, there's a picture of two of these two people. If you think he looks like Stanley Tucci and Sam Walker, put hashtag Walkie Tucci in the comments. If not, put hashtag
not a sausage. So my point about this guy is there's this one bit where they're at the dance. His woman's like, can you not just like actually dance? And he's like, hold on, I'm trying to count my steps.
Don't talk French, I'm trying to count.
I was like, what's going on here?
He's dancing. He wants to stay into the tune of the tune.
I thought he was just like, I was trying to be a pedometer, just like,
hold on,
there's my 10,000 steps.
Let's remember.
The girl's friend gets a song about how she's never going to make it in beauty school. This figment of her imagination calls her ugly.
You think you're such a looker.
And says she's never going to succeed.
Beauty school dropout.
That one had me scratching my head.
There's another song where this woman's like, well, I'm pregnant, but it could be worse. That's kind of it. And then the next scene, she's like, turns out I wasn't pregnant. It was all a lie. So they're like, well, we can't do another song about these two motherfuckers lusting over each other. We've already done 6 of those. We'll do a pregnancy one.
The side plots really could have done with a bit more interest. If they did have a bit more interest, it would take away from the main plot, really, because the main plot really is as shallow as a cling film rap. And that wasn't a great analogy, but
that was great. It's not just John Travolta and Sandy that fall in love. Every single one of John Travolta's friends falls in love with one of Sandy's friends.
Yeah, it's quite convenient.
Like, you don't buy any of the other relationships, really, because they're all just wallpaper. Yeah.
Just to make the final closing number have a bit more impact, with them all singing it together, because they've all managed to find their special someone. It's
in
just,
high school.
In high school. Let's look at the lyrics of some of these songs.
We couldn't really hear them in the theatre because it was really loud. So I didn't know what they were saying. There's a scene which the song starts off and John Travolta says, I've got jizz.
I got chills.
It's not jizz, it's chills.
It sounded like he said jizz in the cinema. I've got jizz.
I got a poo.
Can't talk long, got a jizz. Summer loving had me a blast.
Summer loving happened so fast.
I met a girl, crazy for me.
I met a boy, cute as can be. Summer days, drifting away. I mean, this one's not too bad. There's the put up a fight line. I'm a bit concerned for the Mr. Orcish, curly-haired Jewish bloke. Like, does he expect his women to fight him? Is that his experience in the dating scene to be? He is the creep
of the group of creeps.
I guess the redeeming part of Danny Zuko's character is he's in with a group of creeps, but he's the least creepy of them. He ran by me, got my suit damp. Hold on. I thought it meant like a
Why would
tuxedo.
you complain about getting a swimming suit damp?
That's strange. Well, what kind of suit is it? It doesn't specifically say swimming suit.
Fursuit?
Why could be grease lightning?
Go, grease lightning. Go, grease lightning.
I don't know what a grease lightning is. There's a musical
Well, it's the
number.
car, Murph. It's the car.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I thought
Did you think it was like an allegory for sperm? The whole point of the song is they've crafted a pussy wagon, and this is going to be the means to which they acquire the female genitalia. The chicks will cream. That's a reoccurring lyric. The chicks will cream. They could have gone with scream, but no, cream. It will make the girls produce vaginal discharge. I ain't bragging. She's a real pussy wagon. That's straight up what they call it. I mean, it is definitely a cool song.
Is it though?
Well, I mean, cool as in like, you know, like if I got like a poop jet and I made a song like, I got the poop jet, come for a spin. I'm going to fly into the sky and find some women. It's a cool name for a car, at least, Grease Lightning.
Well,
and
it wasn't made obvious that that was the name of the car.
I don't see how you could have thought it was about anything else.
I think that it's a good middle of the movie musical number that doesn't have anything to do with the romance.
No doubt, but it's certainly not just a throwaway, like the whole song where the woman's like, Miss, I'm pregnant, but it could be worse.
There are worse things I could do.
I have sex with lots of men, but it could be worse. I could have sex with no men.
Yeah. What's she called? Like Lizzo or something?
Rizzo is in the
Oh,
Rats
Rizzo.
from the Muppets. Her whole thing about wanting to have sex with all the men, she's like, I've got to do it while I still can. Like, she's under the impression that maybe her womb's going to dry up. Yeah,
but that plays
17.
into my reading of this film of the end of the film is the end of their lives. You know,
Yeah,
it really
that's-
is like,
Yeah.
she's supposed to be kind of a bit of a nasty and
She's the ringleader of the woman
pink
gang.
posse.
No, Pink Ladies it is. John Travolta, they're a member of the Granny Smiths.
Libertad represent.
Put vegetables in your mind. Not everyone's arc is completed. This character, Frenchie, her goal is to become a beautician. Like in her first scene, she's like, I want to pierce your ear. And then she has the dream sequence where she's like, I've been kicked out of beauty school. I'm not going to be a beautician. And then that's the last we ever hear of it.
But no customer would go to you unless she was a hooker.
Does she give up on her dreams like the guy told her to?
Ha ha, you'll never amount to anything. You're going to die alone. You're going to be a prostitute.
Swag.
Don't pursue a career in what you're passionate about after high school. Simply stick around for the school dance. Don't fucking bother.
I think the worst arc in the movie is Mary or Monty or whatever. Her arc is at the start she's dating like 20 men, and then she finds out that she likes older men.
Yeah, if you like older guys.
And gets preyed on by a TV presenter, and then at the end she dates the school creep.
The school creep is the guy with all the pits in his face.
The other school creep.
Oh, the guy who's peering up the woman's blouse.
No, the other school creep. The one who's kind of Italian.
They were kind of all school creeps, Merv.
You're sort of cool. You know, mean she puts out? Oh, come on, Sonny. Is that all you ever think about? Friggin' A!
I mean, I guess that's better than the paedophile. Not by much.
Even the guy who looks up the skirts who's a virgin has those small moments with the woman who imitates cartoons. Like, justifies why they're together. But these two,
in the
it's just like,
dynasty.
oh, I guess we'll just put them together. Another thing I noticed while editing about Marty is she says, Vince Fontaine tried to put an aspirin in my Coke.
I caught Vince Fontaine trying to put aspirin in my Coke at the dance.
Am I hearing that right? Because if I am, the implication is that she almost got date raped, right? Like this guy put something more malicious than aspirin in, right? Right? Thomas the Tank Engine fan. Why did John Travolta become like a heartthrob? Why did he become like a sex symbol when in this film he acts really camp? He's sort of doing that thing with his legs where he's like bending one of them and the other one straight and then kind of reversing. It sounds like I'm describing walking, but he stood still.
I'll do a blender representation of your description. I think camp men are quite attractive to a lot of women. I mean, he is camp, but he's certainly a straight guy.
I think you are right. I think this is just the way that the presentation of masculinity has just changed over time.
I mean, I think even like being a bit LGBT back in the day was kind of a bit of a turn on for a lot of women. Recently, I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that's got like a transvestite in it, and all the women in it are kind of lusting over this transvestite.
I think this movie has a lot of like no homo energy to it. Like when Danny and his friend hug, they like quickly pull away from each other
and start combing their hair.
Their friends are there.
It's mostly about expressing emotion, and then plot and everything comes second. It's only very vaguely making sense. It's mostly just for the sake of having emotional highs and lows to put songs into. You want it to conform to a certain shape with a lot of exaggeration to kind of have this kind of high contrast, which you can kind of present through music, because music and dance is very expressive and emotional. The whole film is just supposed to be kind of an emotional roller coaster. I was saying it was quite shallow, but I feel like that is what it intends to be. Like in terms of emotional interest, it's supposed to be taking a shallow emotion to the maximum to represent you with just that pure feeling of kind of teenage love and this and that. I guess I prefer stuff that's got more kind of complexity and subtlety in it.
Bramley apples.
The songs are catchy, the film is bad, and that's my thoughts.
Out of 10, I'm going to give it a 4.
I would give it a 2.
I was quite polite with my score because it was the first time I've been to a cinema since January of last year. So I did enjoy the experience.
I mean, I didn't enjoy the experience as much as I would if it was a good film. But in terms of like getting back to the cinema and everything, sitting there with me old pal Murph watching a film on full screen, I mean, it was ridiculously too loud.
Yeah. Wow, we just got Prooped. Proop's left. Next time we're going to do the movie Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief. Until next time, we'll see you next time.
Men are quite attractive.
I have sex with lots of men.
No sex before tea time.